Hey everybody, we are live! Yay! Okay, we made it. We're just a smidge late, some technical difficulties. But we are on now, yay! And so since I'll just get right into it. I have my guest, Stephanie Gretchen, a certified life coach, retreat leader, spiritual director, working with clients around the country. She's the owner of Stephanie Gretchen Coaching and Retreats. She's also a contract with Christian Mickelsen, where she coaches clients to their success. She's a graduate of group leadership program, and I am not going to Shalem Institute spiritual formation. I don't know, certified success coach from the Rabbit Coaching Academy, parent encouragement program, parent educator, graduate of the to help me. Stephanie.
Hesychia, that one?
Yes. Hesychia School of Spiritual Director, yes. And she's a mother of 2 adultish kids who rock her world. A nature nerd, she is totally a nature nerd who loves being outdoors, learning all she can about it, like total outside. That was the secret I was going to tell everybody about you. You are just an outdoorsy when you can. You're out there in the rocks and climbing and walking and doing your thing.
Whatever I can do, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yay. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, we are going to talk about purpose, life purpose. You tell me. So tell me, what is purpose? What's purpose to you?
That's a great question, because a lot of people talk about like living your purpose and what's your purpose, and it's basically living into where your gifts, your skills and abilities meet the world's needs. And when you are in that place, you're kind of in your zone, right? You're living an authentic life, you are living into your greatness, and you love what you do. You know, it's not like you're in a make-do job and you feel kind of fussy and miserable because you're just trying to get by. No, you're actually like jazzed about what you're doing.
Nice. I love that explanation, like that. Yeah, and now, so when you're in the zone, can you be in the zone and at a job that you may not love, or kind of like how do you get in the zone, maybe?
Right. Yeah. Great question. So many years ago, I had finished my master's and I was working in this job, and I don't know, I guess I kind of grew up in a bubble, because my first job out of grad school, like there were crazy people in my office, like people who were like screaming at each other in the hallway. Like my family didn't even do that, you know? Right. And I was just like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Right. So as I was job hunting for something else, I decided I really needed to do something that I loved, something that was good for me. And so I kind of suspected that I wanted to try some public speaking. And so I volunteered at the National Zoo as a docent. And so I became an educator in the large mammal house. And I was the person who like had the microphone while they were doing the elephant training. I'd be like, good morning and welcome to the National Zoo, you know, and then I'd describe what was going on. And, you know, it was all about educating the population about habitat loss and about the importance of these different animals. So it was something that I believed in. It was fun. I actually got to touch an elephant and a hippo and a rhino. But then also, like, I was building my skills. I was taking steps toward what my purpose was. And I also want to say that, like, I don't necessarily feel like we all have just one purpose, like we just have one thing to do and you've got to fill that box. I think we have lots of lives inside ourselves. And so, but the key is to follow your joy, to follow what you love to do. And then it's like, you know, one thing so often leads to the next, leads to the next. Have you ever had that kind of experience where it's like you start doing one thing and then you're like, oh.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. Wonderful. So you took your love of nature and your speaking. And I've always wondered how someone gets that job. Like, how do you prepare for that job?
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. And I really love that you say we don't have one purpose, because I've talked to several people, especially about purpose. There seems to be a lot of transition in people trying to figure their way around, and we're always looking for something. And I think the looking also has to do with looking outside of ourselves, maybe. So I love that you're saying find your joy, like, because that's inside. Whatever whatever makes you happy, that's your purpose. And it doesn't have, and there can be different things, and it can change, and like that. All of that is, I just so resonate with all of that. I'm taking my notes here. I always love taking notes.
Well, while you're taking your notes, another thing that so many people say to me is like, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. Have you ever heard adults talk about that? Like, I'm doing this one thing, and I know it's not the thing that's ultimately for me, but I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. And it's kind of that, it's a piece of that. Well, that's it, really.
Yeah. And so you're talking about just taking that next, whatever you're called to do. Like, how do you find that next step, or how do you know it's the next step? Or because I think that's what people get hung up on also, is what is my next right step?
Yeah. Great question. And I think that I think lots of times our tendency is to, well, let me read some self-help books, or let me listen to some inspirational audio programs. And those are great. Or, let me go to the mountaintop and meditate. And I am a fan of all of those things. And I believe that you need to take action. You need to, like I did, like go volunteer someplace, go test some things out, give it a try and see whether or not you like it. If you don't like it, that's great. That's not failure. That's feedback. That's you getting additional information. And then it's like, okay, I can cross that one off the list. But if it's something where you've got a lot of resonance and you really love it, then it's like, okay, I've just taken a big step forward toward what I ultimately want to do. I mean, when I was growing up, I didn't even know there was such a thing as a life coach, and I didn't know that, like, you could be a public speaker, But here I am, and I love what I get to do.
Yay. Yeah, very awesome. And I love what you just said. That's not failure, it's feedback. So you kind of course correct, and you really don't know until you try it. You can practice, or learn and read about it and do all of that until you start actually working toward actually doing it, and is when you're going to find out, do I like it or not. That's great. And you also had said building your skills. So that's helping you, I guess, guide you to your next thing.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little secret right now. I am melting. I don't know what is going on in my house. I am melting. So if I'm dripping, or like it might look like I'm crying, it's tears of joy. So, I feel like I'm just sweating.
You're faking it really well. Just keep going.
If I pass out, that's what's going on. Oh my gosh. So, okay. I'm sorry. I digress here. So, tell me more. Tell me more about purpose and how one can. So you're saying volunteer, try new things, and just kind of see where that leads you. And now I think I've told this story before. I was laid off from like 4 different companies. I think they went bankrupt. they said, we're closing this department. I walked in and they said, sorry, you don't have a job anymore.
Wow.
And yeah, 4 times.
Wow. Nothing like a little heads up, right?
It took me that many times to finally say, I am not going back to a safe and secure
right
9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
Right.
And since then, and I tell you, it wasn't easy because I was pregnant. We had just purchased a house. My husband was a stay-at-home parent, so it wasn't like okay, I'm just going to start my own company and walk away, and it was no big deal. It's like all of us were scared out of our, like, how is this going to work? And I'm telling my husband, it's like, I just can't. I cannot go back. It just wasn't right for me at the time, and we did make some sacrifice. But since then, oh my gosh, I mean, our lives have changed since then. The things that I get to do now is beyond anything that I could imagine. And, there's people walking out from being laid off and they're in tears and crying and, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And it's not that it's not scary, but maybe you're meant to follow that nudge. And like I said,
that's right.
I think it was 4 times that I got the nudge.
Exactly. The universe is really persistent, Eventually, it's going to get your attention, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it did. So I love that you say that. Just following your gut, you're trying new things, or I don't know, but I do know that message for me was a little stronger and a little stronger and a little stronger each time. And now I get to I haven't even been home most of this month because I'm following my kid around as he's playing baseball. So
how awesome, right?
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Right.
And
So
I love that you connected the dots. You're like, okay, the universe was trying to get my attention. Like that was not the career path that you were supposed to follow. Obviously it's so completely obvious. Anybody who's watching this, anybody who's on your page, you have all these fantastic gifts that you were not giving to the world when you were in that corporate box. And it's not that no one's supposed to be in that corporate, arena, but that wasn't meant for you. And so, you finally heard the message like, oh, okay, like I'm supposed to go do something that really uses my gifts, my purpose for being here on this planet.
Right. And even though, so I wonder, because I know it is scary for some people, like what's your advice when you feel the nudge but it's scary?
Yeah.
Like how do you, yeah, right? It's not really I don't know, the heavens opening up and saying, here, come to this path, or, it doesn't really come in that form, right? It is kind of those scary pushes, but how do you tell the difference between your feelings, I'm scared and this is not something I'm supposed to do, versus I'm scared but I'm supposed to move it, but I know I'm supposed to, like, how do you tell that those two scared? Do you have any to say about
I think that we as adults, I would, maybe there's somebody out there, but I would find it hard to believe that there's anybody out there who has not had an experience where you're like, okay, in your head, in your heart, in your gut, somehow that like, this is not where you're supposed to be. And it just, lots of times you're miserable. And that's a big red flag. Like, okay, if you're miserable, that's not where you're supposed to be. And the scary thing is that it's not usually, it can happen that, something just kind of falls into your lap and you can do the next thing. But so often, at least in my experience, with my clients, it's usually like, okay, you want to at least start to make some kind of moves toward what you think you want to do. And again, this is the like, Go volunteer. Go start to build some of these skills. Go have some informational interviews with people and get some more information. Find out, you think that um, uh, being a CPA sounds like it's going to really use your skills, but you're not positive. So go talk to some other CPAs. Go find out what the job really entails, what it's really about, so that you have some more information. And then, just start to take baby steps toward that.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that's true too. You don't have to take a big, like I did, a big career
Right.
jump. I just, laid off and I just never went back and that kind
Right.
of thing. It can be the baby steps and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
try some, yeah.
Right. It can totally be the big jump too, and that's great too. Um,
Hmm.
I know a lot of people who are getting into coaching, and so, like they'll start to do it part time. They'll like do it on the side, or they'll, they'll get a certification or whatever. So they'll start to get their feet wet and try and build until it's time to take the jump.
Yeah, that's actually really, I feel that everyone should have some kind of a side something. I
Yeah.
mean, and we're talking about, like right now I'm thinking wealth and income. I'm talking about jobs. And I always feel like there should always be, I mean, the wealthiest people in the world don't have one stream of income. It
Right.
is this, and then you've got your side hustle, and they've
Right.
always got different things going on because, and then going back to purpose, it's not just one-sided. You're not just doing one thing all the time because we are made up of so many different pieces of us, of who we are, that yeah, by kind of dipping your toe in different things, you're going to be able to tell, yeah, I think I want to put the whole foot in here or the
Right.
leg and the, dangle the feet or whatever, and really start immersing into one or the other, and then maybe dip your toe over here and still, but follow, because yeah, we're not just one simple line and this is how, yeah, awesome. Love that. Okay, what else? What else about purpose? I know you've got lots of training around purpose, and you've got some your courses. And so, what do you want to talk about? Is like I feel like I'm just burning up.
It's just too darn hot and you fry.
You are hot, girl. You are hot.
I think another piece of this, and I talk a lot about this in my work, is the letting go, and the letting go of what no longer serves us. And I think that, we as adults, we pick up things along the way, whether it's times when we've been hurt, or issues around forgiveness, or it's a relationship, or it's a job, or a habit, or any number of things, but we're still in this old pattern and it doesn't serve us anymore. And so that's another piece of it, is that when we let go of what's no longer working for us, we're making space so that we can really get into our creative genius. And yes, I do think that we all have creative genius. It just looks different for different people. I mentioned becoming a CPA earlier. Like, you want to work in your gifts. I like I love public speaking and coaching. I'm good at it, but don't ask me to look at your financial statements. Like, I would not be an asset there, okay? But so if that's something that you get jazzed about, use those gifts. Make sure that you're um, doing the things that you love and that you're good at. And so the more that we let go of the crap that doesn't serve us, that's not really working for us, the more space we have um, to to create and to make that life that we love.
Yeah, that's that's awesome. I love, I don't know that I've ever really talked about, because I've talked to a few people about purpose, and I love that you talk about letting go and creating that space. That was a real aha for me. And it's not the heat talking. It's like,
Right.
it's not, like that is huge. And I think we forget about also just kind of, yeah, letting go of that old stuff, like doing a self-evaluation. And maybe we have talked about it. I'm trying to think of some other, but that one, you just, that really resonated with me, just creating that space
Yeah.
for all the new stuff.
Right, right. So follow your
Yeah.
joy, create some space and time. Um, and, also, I think that having some kind of companion along the way really helps. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help in one way or another. I mean, obviously, I'm a life coach. I really believe in life coaching, but make sure that you've got someone who holds you accountable, who's there supporting you, because we all need that. There are times where we need, someone to bounce ideas off of, somebody who's there for us. And you can't get that in a book or an online, an audio program or something. Like, you just can't. You need a companion, somebody who's in your corner helping you.
Yeah, that is a good point. And just piggybacking on that, I do know that there are people that reach out, like an accountability partner. They'll reach out to friends or family. And for me personally, I do not suggest that. Friends and family, it's okay. You didn't do it. Or are you kidding? You're going to dream that big. You're
Right.
never going to get that done. So there's just finding that someone outside of friends and family that really, I mean, there's no interest there. I mean, for family members, it's like, okay, if they feel that you're going to be going off and doing this weird stuff or something
Right.
different than them, then there's probably that feeling
Right.
back there that you're not going to be, you're going to leave me, you're going to be different, you're going to whatever, or it's just outside of this little box that we've
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
ourselves in. So yeah,
An
definitely
objective
finding.
an objective party there, someone who's not going to be biased. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay. Awesome. I love it. I love it. And I know we started a little late and I didn't ask you if you had a hard stop at 6 o'clock or if you have just a few more minutes.
I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fine.
Okay. Yay. Awesome. Okay. So what are the other parts of purpose? What I mean, you're just following your dreams, testing things out, letting go of to make space. What else what are the other pieces to that?
Well, some of the other things that I really advocate around is like what we just talked about, asking for help, having, and I think lots of times that's really hard for people, is to reach out and to ask for help in one way or another. But related to that also, and I know a lot of people talk about self-care, but I think that it's really, really key because, I love the analogy of when you're on an airplane and they tell you to put the air mask on first. And I really think that, if societally we had not been so, this is such a part of what everybody's used to, but if they didn't tell us that, I think there would still be a lot of people who, like, you know, the air mask comes down and they'd put it on the person next to them, you know, a child or the elderly person or somebody who needed help. But the fact is that if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't do your work. You can't take care of anybody else. And so I just want to put in a little cheer for self-care.
Self-care.
Um,
Yeah.
Making sure
Yeah.
that it's a regular thing, not like the once a year spa day or something. But, you know, something that you do regularly, whether it's meditation or it's, you know, going for a walk or whatever. I realized that my
Yeah.
phone just said low battery, so.
Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. So we'll be wrapping this up. But so everything that we're talking about, it keeps coming back around to finding your joy. That's kind of when it just seems like it keeps coming back to follow your joy, finding things that you love, and really just be in your purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, you already are, just start acting on it. Right?
Your truth.
Yeah.
So like once you're able to like clear away everything else, it becomes really obvious what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And then it becomes
Awesome.
easy. I mean, it actually becomes easy. So.
Easy to be in your purpose.
Yeah, yeah. To follow your truth and your purpose, it's like all of a sudden, like when you clue into it, it's like, you know, the universe responds and is like, yeah, sure, here you go, you know, and it just, it becomes natural. Or it goes back to being natural, probably, right?
Right, yeah, because now you can really hone into that. Am I doing the right things? And is this my joy? And am I? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, so I'm melting. Your phone is overheating. Yeah. I'm going to say no more battery. It's done. So this is probably a good time. Just thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Stephanie, we want to know what you got most out of today. So post it wherever you're seeing this. You can find Stephanie. I'll post all her links on my website here on Facebook. And thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. This was so fun. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Bye. Thanks, everyone, for